Hey, what's up YouTube? Balder here, and I am doing a test once more. It's still the F-15 versus the Mirage 2000, and it's still going to be a climb test, but I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. So I'm going to be testing each of the plane's climbing capabilities with a little bit more measurements and more rules, just to make sure that the test is a little bit more accurate. Still, it's not perfect, and I'm not saying that it's perfect because there are several factors that I couldn't take into consideration, and I'll explain it later. But anyway, for the rules. The timer starts at rotate. Rotate basically means pulling the stick back. Once that starts, the timer starts. The second thing is that speeds must be at 350 knots of indicated airspeed until higher than I go with Mach numbers, which is in between Mach 0.9 and Mach 1. Try to remain in that envelope, you'll just have to see. And the third one is that the times are going to be lapped at about 10,000 feet, 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet, 40,000 feet, and 45,000 feet. I will measure each one, and then I will give you the basic statistics on all of them to conclude once and for all which one has the higher climb rate. Now, one thing I didn't take into consideration is what we call the VY. If you don't know what VY means, it basically means the highest rate of climb, or the fastest rate of climb. And that is the airspeed that will give you the best rate of climb, because once you're at full afterburner, then I guess the best way to put it is that this speed will get you, as I said before, the best rate of climb. However, I was unable to get the best VY for the Mirage 2000, and as for the F-15, I looked at the manual, and I'm pretty much going off of the takeoff with full afterburner rate, which is probably what VY was. But with that said, let's get started. Alright, I am starting with the F-15. Basically the same as before, I'm taking off from Batumi's airport. Both planes are. There are also the same weather conditions along with the same dated time, and both of these planes have a full amount of fuel. But anyway, I rotate, I immediately bring up my gear and my flaps, and I try to get to 350 knots as quickly as possible. Much like landing, you adjust the speed by the pitch of your plane, as opposed to the throttle, especially since the throttle is going to be at full afterburner. The only way to really control the speed is with the pitch. But anyway, approaching 350 knots, need to raise the nose a little bit more to prevent myself from going above 350 knots. It's not going to be perfect. I am going to deviate a little bit, but pretty much we're going at 350 knots. And we have already passed 10,000 feet. Now, one thing that needs to be taken into consideration is that the higher you go in altitude, the less reliable the indicated airspeed becomes. And I believe that's because the air gets thinner, therefore it messes with the sensors and it thinks that you're going slower than you really are. The Mach number, however, doesn't have that effect. It actually stays the same, and I can't exactly tell you why. As it stands right now, I'm actually having to lower the nose to get about Mach 0.9 to Mach 1, but I've already passed 22,000 feet, so this thing has pretty good climb capabilities. But still have to dip the nose down a little bit further until I can finally get that, and then once I do, I can properly adjust. And don't mind the ILS. That's really nothing to concern yourself over. But anyway, I'm about Mach 0.9, Mach 1, and 30,000 feet has already occurred. And it only took me 1 minute 46 seconds. I'll have to take a look at the numbers again. But so far, if you haven't noticed, I am having to increase the speed or increase the pitch just to maintain the airspeed. And the airspeed starts to bleed off. I'm at about 40,000 feet, so I lower the nose once again to bring back the airspeed. But at this point, things are getting pretty thin, so obviously there's going to be an issue with speed. But as you can tell, with the F-15, the speed is really going down. But anyway, we are about to reach 45,000, and there we go. So yeah, that's pretty much the climb. If you've noticed, it has bled off speed quite a bit. But now we're going to go into the Mirage 2000. Same as before, full afterburner. And then, thankfully, with the Mirage 2000, there is no issue with flaps whatsoever. So once I rotate, which is right about now, I can put my gear up immediately, and then pitch the nose up. Also, with the HUD, it's a lot easier to read, and it also gives you the Mach number, which is kind of nice. But we are approaching about 350 knots, and then I'm going to maintain that. But then you're going to see something that's a little weird, and you'll see pretty soon enough. Right, so you'll notice the Mach number. It's going up, right? Even though the indicated airspeed is going down. Again, that's because of the whole air density issue that we have with the indicated airspeed. And when we climb, you'll notice that I can pretty much maintain this pitch while maintaining an actual acceleration into the atmosphere while I am climbing up to 20,000 feet. So far, I'm getting closer and closer to Mach 0.9. I haven't gotten to it yet, but that's because it's taken a little bit of time to get there. Still, I am going faster than 350 knots, if you could not tell. Just looked back for a little bit. Yes, now I'm getting up to speed a little bit more. I am also maintaining my pitch unlike the F-15, and now I'm at 30,000 feet. Haven't even reached Mach 0.9 yet. Decided to lower my nose a little bit to 30 degrees nose up, or my angle of attack to 30 degrees nose up. But now, at this point, I'm at Mach 0.9, and the timer is still going, and we're about to reach 40,000 feet. There we go. Strangely enough, if you remember, the F-15 was bleeding off Mach airspeed very quickly around this time. However, with the Mirage 2000, it's still maintaining a very nice Mach number, and we got to 45,000 feet, still at Mach 0.9. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get the numbers. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. For the F-15C, you'll notice that the climb is pretty impressive. 41.14 seconds to get to 10,000 feet, minutes 6.13 seconds to get to 20,000, 30,000 feet, it was able to reach that altitude at 1 minute 43.28 seconds. Then for 40,000, it was able to reach the altitude at 2 minutes 8 seconds and 0.04 seconds as well. Then of course at flight level 450 or 45,000 feet, it was able to reach the altitude at 2 minutes 29.01 seconds. So, pretty good, pretty impressive. I should probably see how fast the Su-27 would be able to climb, but I can't imagine it climbing any faster than the F-15. That thing is a beast when it comes to afterburner. Either way, let's go to the Mirage 2000. At 10,000 feet, it literally climbed the same altitude at the same speed as the F-15C, to the 100th of a second. I can't do milliseconds because of the frame rate, but without a doubt, that is really close, and really freaky in a way, because this wasn't autopilot. I was doing this all manually, so I'm human, I'm imperfect. Either way, moving on, at 20,000 feet, it was able to get to that altitude at 1 minute and 6 seconds, but it actually went 0.16 times or 0.16 seconds slower than the F-15. But that's where the Mirage stops losing the race. At 30,000 feet, it gets there at 1 minute 31.08 seconds, which is faster than what the F-15 was able to do by a long margin. Then at 40,000 feet, it still beats the F-15 at 1 minute 55.25 seconds, and then at 45,000 feet, it was able to reach that altitude at 2 minutes 8.19 seconds. So there are definitely some things to take into consideration. This isn't perfect, and for the most part, I'm not actually looking at this from a realistic point of view. I know that the Mirage 2000 has some inaccuracies when it comes to its flight model, but so does the F-15C. It's not perfect, it's a video game, and that's something you need to take into consideration, so I'm not basing this off of how real the planes are. I'm basing this off of the performance that you get in-game, because it is a video game. Therefore, when you look at these numbers, it isn't a matter of which one is more realistic, it's a matter of which one outperforms the other, and in this case, the Mirage 2000 easily outperforms the F-15 in a climb. Anyway, that should be it for today. Hope you guys have a good one.